Gentlemen, welcome back to my channel. Thank you for joining me. It is always appreciated. Now, the topic of today's video is a question that I get asked sometimes, and it pops up in the comments every now and then, but to be honest with you, it's a question that should be asked a lot more. So in today's video, I'm going to answer that particular question. That question is, what the hell is a traditional woman? Okay, so when I started out on this mission to try and see if I could find the elusive traditional woman, it was because of my experience that I had in the West. And I just knew that there had to be something out there that had to be better. But even in my own head, in my own mind, I didn't know exactly what a traditional woman was. I thought I did, but I never really thought too much about it. I knew that I had traditional values and I wanted a relationship that could be considered to be traditional. It wasn't until later on this mission of mine that I really started to think about some things. When I started to learn about what can create a good relationship, how to find a good woman, how to avoid some of the bad things that had happened to me in the past. And I came to a realization that instead of looking for something, I should look for things to avoid. And even though that sounds counterproductive, it is, and I still believe it is the way to do it. So what is a traditional woman? Because you have to have a traditional woman, a traditional man, in order to have a traditional relationship. So I'm going to break it down in this easy one-liner, one phrase that encompasses the whole thing, and then I'm going to go into it in a little bit more detail. A traditional woman to me is a woman that does not pursue masculine qualities or want to have masculine roles when it comes to a relationship. And this next part's important, and is not lazy. So there is a little bit of confusion when guys think about a traditional woman, especially when it comes to a country such as Ukraine. It is confusing, I suppose, because we say we're going somewhere where there still has some tradition and some culture and stuff like that, and those things are great, but there's something that's more important, that's more the essence of what a good relationship is. Sure, she can be a great cook. Sure, she can mend clothes with a needle. But if she doesn't understand the fundamentals of a relationship when it comes to the man's role and her own role, then the relationship could never ever be a traditional relationship. Now, that's not to say that the relationship couldn't work on some level. Like the guy could have feminine qualities and she could have masculine qualities, therefore she would wear the pants. But it wouldn't be a traditional relationship, and it would be something that I would not be interested in. So since the dawn of time, it's been the man's job. It's been his role in a relationship, in a family environment, to be the protector, the provider. He knows this, it's built into us, it's in our DNA. There's nothing that you can do about it. They can try and weed it out of us by what they put into the news and stuff on the internet and all that sort of stuff, but it's built into us. It's had so much time and so many thousands of generations for it to be ingrained in us. The same is true for the female. It's only in recent times that these feminists that have come in, I'm actually going to refer to these feminists as outside influence. So we can take from that whatever we want, but you guys know what I mean. They've come in and they've confused it. They've confused the men, and they've also confused the women as well as to what their actual role is when it comes to a relationship. If a woman was to take on a traditional role of a housewife, okay, then she is seen as maybe being oppressed. And no woman wants to feel like she is oppressed. No man wants to feel the same way either. So it's in our nature to make ourselves empowered, to give ourselves some strength. But that just leads to a whole lot of confusion. Now, because of evolution and because of the way that we have been put together and we have been evolving throughout time, and we look for women that are healthy, that can bear a child without the child getting sick, and that are preferably younger. It's just the way that we are. Don't hate me for it. It's just the way it is. On the other side, the women, they look for a man who's going to provide security. And of course, security comes in the form of money these days. But back in the day, of course, it wouldn't have been money. But he needed to be able to protect the family, or she needs to be able to feel that he can protect the family. And when she finds that, and when he has found what he is looking for, that is how nature intended it to be. That is how the human race has survived. It's been a battle of the fittest since the start. The problem is now is that these outside influences are telling the woman in the West that that's not what they're looking for. But something inside them is looking for something. It's just in them. It's just the way that we've evolved, like I explained before. They know they're looking for something, but now they don't know what it is. And when they do find it, they're being told by these voices that, no, this is not what you're after. What you need to do is you need to go out there and you need to be a strong, independent woman. That's what you're looking for. So even when they do get it, even when they do find a man that is going to take care of them and look after them and be security, they don't see it. They may feel it, but they don't see it because of what's happening around them and these outside influences. So the saddest part about that is that the man will never be appreciated. And it comes to a point where if a man does provide a good household, he does provide stable income, he is a provider, he is a protector, he is there for her, she doesn't understand that that's what she actually needed. So she's never going to appreciate it. And so when she has it, she's not going to appreciate it. But because she feels like she's looking for something, she's always looking for something. But she doesn't know what it is, but she just knows that she has to find something better. With these outside influences, it's blurred the lines so bad that it makes it so hard for especially for the younger people in the world today, to understand what is actually important in a relationship. For the men, we still, for the most part of us, understand that we need to be the man in the relationship. And that can sometimes, because of the outside influences for the woman, there can be this power struggle that's in there. And I'm not talking about shit tests. I'm talking about real power struggles as to who's in charge of the relationship. When the reality is that no one really should be in charge of the relationship. There should be aspects of a relationship that either the man is in charge of or the woman is in charge of. And that's the way that it should work. There are two separate, completely different roles. And there will be times when like the man has to fulfill some of the roles from the feminine side and the woman into the masculine side. Sometimes those roles can be swapped and interchanged. But fundamentally, they should remain the same in order for the relationship to be a traditional relationship like nature intended. Over the years, the value of this traditional relationship has just been diluted over and over again. And now that there's this one-sided court system that's been introduced, I guess, over the last 40, 50 years, there really is no reason for a woman to look at a man as if he is the provider and the protector and the security, because she knows at any one time she can get up and there's a whole other support network there. There's a whole other world out there that will give her money, that will give her benefits, that will pay for her court case, whatever she's going to do to the man. And so that tied in with the outside influences, the feminists, makes it extremely difficult in the West to actually have, or not even to have, but to find a traditional woman. Because a traditional woman has to have the mindset from the get-go, all her life. If she ever loses it once, then it's done. She can't be traditional, then non-traditional, then come back. Once she's gone out of being a traditional woman into the world, that's it, she's gone. You'll never see her again. But she has to have this mindset, right, when she goes into the relationship. And the man has to have the same mindset as well. If he's also been affected by this whole feminazi bullshit that's out there, well, then he's fucked as well. He needs to go find one of these other feminazis and they need to just try and make shit happen over here. So she needs to go into this relationship thinking that the man has his role and she has her role as well, and then work together to create a relationship and a family. Anything else just won't work. The problem in the West is like the women that are over there, they don't want to embrace this because it's shameful. To embrace the fact that you would love to be a stay-at-home mother. And I'm not saying that she can't excel herself in her career or her passion or anything like that. I mean, like, for me, to meet a woman that has passion about something or that has spent 5 years at university, it shows dedication and diligence and conscientiousness. And all those traits, if she was to bring those into a relationship, can definitely be beneficial. But in the West, it's shameful. If a woman was to say, I just want to be a stay-at-home mother, she may get shamed. She probably would get shamed because people would say, you know, you're lazy, or why don't you want to do something better with your life? But the way that I look at it and viewed it right from the very start, that if a woman that all she wanted to do was to make sure that the man that she is with is happy, make sure he is happy so he can still do what he needs to do to fulfill the role and her raise the children, to me, that's traditional. That's a traditional relationship. And if she is that way inclined from her upbringing or from maybe certain places that she's lived in, that she does have this nurturing capability, that she would do anything for her children or she would do anything to make sure the family's together. She would, like, when she brings that into the relationship, obviously the relationship is going to flourish. At the start of the video, I said that, you know, it's my definition of a traditional woman. And the little bit that I added on the end there is that she can't be lazy. And this is an important, very, very important part of it, because there are many women out there that say, I just want to stay at home. I just want to have kids. I just want to stay at home. And some of these women are absolutely just lazy. And I've been in a relationship like that where all she wanted to do was stay at home, and I tried to make this into a traditional relationship as I wanted it to be. But what I found out was that she spent all of her time watching reruns of the Kardashians. She would palm her kid off to whoever would take this child. I'd be at work, I'd come home, there'd be nothing cooked for dinner. For her, it was just a lifestyle. It was a lazy lifestyle. It was an excuse to be a stay-at-home mother and just be completely lazy and not give anything back to the relationship. So that's why that last part there, and not be lazy. I mean, you could expand that into so many different things, but she cannot be lazy. She has to be dedicated to her role as a woman in the relationship. No different to the way the man does when he goes to work and he slogs his ass off and he makes sure there's enough money for the family. The same has to be done on the other side as well. So when I say traditional Ukrainian woman, I don't mean she's in the village, and I don't mean that she gets up in the morning and she's like milking the warm teat of the village cow. That's not what I'm saying. For me, I don't care how good of a cook that she is. She could be absolutely terrible, but I know that if it's her passion to look after a family, she'll just naturally get good at that. But either way, I don't really care about that. I don't care if she can sew and fix my clothes. That's not what I'm talking about when I say traditional. It simply means that she respects the roles in a relationship. You have a mutual understanding as to what you need to do. Both roles are different, both roles are equally important, but we both know what those roles are. A few people have commented about there are no traditional women left in the world. Now, I do disagree, okay? I do believe in the West, there are traditional women left in the West, but here's the risk with it in the West. You need to find a traditional woman, which is hard. Then you need to find one that won't ever use the court system against you when you break up. Now that is almost impossible. The odds of finding that are so ridiculous. It's just not going to happen. So take, for example, a country like Ukraine. They don't have that court system, right? So they have to have a traditional mindset. They have to have it. They can't have a mindset of going into a relationship thinking, well, if it doesn't work, I'll just take him to court and I'll take his cars and his house and his business. They don't have that because there's no system here to do that. So the rules are already set. There are no other ways to think about it. They have to have that. They have to make sure the man is happy in the relationship so they stay together and he still provides for her and for the children and live together as a traditional happy family. And if you're thinking, well, that's unfair, there's like in the West there's a court system, over there isn't one. Now she has to like make the relationship work. If you for some reason think that is unfair, think back to 500 years ago, 1,000 years ago. There was no court system. People got together in a relationship, man and the woman, and they had to make it work. She chose him for whatever qualities he had, and he chose her for whatever qualities that she held. And they made it work because they knew how the relationship worked. They haven't been corrupted by the court system like they have in the West that tears families to bits. This court system is not there to help. Whoever thinks it's there to actually help families stay together, then you have never been through it. So of course in a country like Ukraine, not all women are going to be traditional and have that traditional mindset, right? Not all of them are, but most of them do. Now, a lot of guys talk about all these Instagram sluts that like have their ass and their tits out, but that's all over the world, right? And I have my thoughts on those type of ladies as well, but it doesn't really it does cross over a little bit into the whole traditional, looking for a traditional woman, but that's a whole other ball game there. But even if they do have their ass and their tits out on Instagram, and it doesn't mean that they wouldn't be a traditional woman when it comes to a relationship, because all it is roles in a relationship. She may have her tits out and her ass out and she's looking for attention, she's looking for likes and all that sort of stuff. That there poses more of a problem of her looking for attention than anything else. So that's my thoughts on traditional women and traditional relationships. I'm sorry the video has gone for so long. I did not mean for it to. Anyway, I'll see you guys next time in the next video, and thank you so much for watching. Subscribe to the channel and we'll see you next time.